Hi Sparkles, it's Jordan Sparks. Welcome back to my channel. So, in today's video, we are going to be, or I guess I'm going to be, talking about Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson's new series called The Beautiful Life of Jeffree Star. So, first and foremost, Jeffree Star actually blocked me on social media, and I realized that it wasn't just Twitter, it's Twitter and Instagram, and this has been for like over a year now. Now, Jeffree Star actually was like a giant inspiration to me for a really long time, and I really honestly and truly swear to God, like, do not have any idea, no freaking clue why I got blocked by Jeffree Star, but that being said, no hard feelings, I still support him. It's whatever, but I'm just throwing that out there because I know I've mentioned that on my channel before, that he blocked me on Instagram and social media. So I have 2 pages of notes here about the series, and I kind of just wanted to talk about like my thoughts and my opinions, and then like ask you guys some questions and stuff, but also make some predictions for this series and make some predictions for the future for like Shane and Jeffree. So that being said, if you're brand new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Jordan Sparks. If you'd like to join the constellation, which is what we call all of the sparkles here, then make sure to press that juicy red subscribe button at any point during this video. And also, before we hop into this video, I wanted to mention that I do have a Scale About website, and on my Scale About website I do dance coach reactions. So if you want me to react to your dancing or your child or your friends dancing or something as like a surprise for them, then definitely check out my Scale About website. Or if you want a video shout out, or you have any other questions that you'd like to ask me about dance, about performing, about YouTube, about makeup, about literally anything, then definitely check out my Scale About, and I will leave the link down in the bio below so that you can check that out. So my first thought on this series, I was hearing everybody's opinions and everybody's thoughts about like what this series was going to be about, and I was hearing a bunch of people thinking that it was going to be mostly or primarily about Dramageddon 2, and I honestly had never thought that. I thought it was going to be about Shane and Jeffree making a makeup palette from day one, and I thought that they were pretty clear about that, so I don't know. I was kind of confused when I was hearing that everybody was thinking that this series was going to be all about drama. So, first things first, I am super excited for this series because if they actually are going to go in detail, step by step, like everything from the first day to when the palette is released on how to do a makeup launch, then I am super interested because I have always wanted to create a makeup line, not necessarily just a makeup palette, but if I do create a makeup palette, not just an eyeshadow palette, but if I do create an eyeshadow palette, I have like so many cool names in mind already, and I'm like, I don't know if I should share them, but I don't know. I'm at this point in my life where I'm trying to voice all of my goals in life because I'm learning by the law of attraction that your goals and your dreams come true when you voice them out loud. And a lot of people are afraid to voice their dreams, or they've heard advice from other people that you should never speak about your goals out loud and keep them secret until they happen. But I personally am one of those people that thinks now that you should talk your dreams into reality. So if there's a dream that you want to come true, talk about it, be about it, do it until it becomes a reality. I'm like glued to the screen watching this series because I want to learn. Also, I was thinking in the beginning of this video that Shane Dawson, Jeffree Star, and James Charles are like 3 of the biggest, most powerful gay men in the entire world at this point. It's not just on YouTube, like these are the most influential gay men like literally in the world. They have giant social media platforms, and the only other people that I can think of are like Neil Patrick Harris and Elton John and other publicly gay people that are in the media. So I was thinking about that, and with the amount of money Jeffree Star has, like Jeffree Star is a millionaire. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a billionaire. Jeffree Star alone is probably one of the most powerful gay men in the entire world, and then teamed up with Shane Dawson, and they're going to be making makeup under Jeffree's name. Like, that is literally crazy when you think of the amount of power that Jeffree has and influence over the beauty community. Like, it's absolutely insane when you really think about it. He's not just a huge influencer. He's not just filthy rich. He's not just a CEO. Like, he has an extreme amount of power and influence over the beauty community worldwide, and that's absolutely crazy. So I feel like in this series that they're going to have a whole bunch of setbacks. I feel like they're going to be going over the Jaclyn Hill release and all of the drama that happened in that, because that would have been happening while they were filming this. And Jeffree said that so many people are going to come and try and cause drama, and they're going to come and try and cancel your makeup or cancel you before your release even happens. And so I think that we saw those clips. I think that's foreshadowing that there's going to be a lot of drama. There's going to be a lot of people coming in and trying to ruin this for Shane and Jeffree behind the scenes. And I feel like we're going to see that in this series. I personally think that we're going to see the entire series. They're going to document every single step along the way. We're going to see all the trials and tribulations. And then at the very end of the series, I think that they're going to launch the makeup palette or whatever else is going to be with this all at the same time. And I'm not sure when that is going to be or when the series is going to be over, but I do think that it's all going to be launched right at the very end. But keep in mind that Jeffree has a Christmas collection coming out, and so I think that Jeffree's going to make sure that his Christmas collection is launched separately from the Shane Dawson palette, if that makes sense. Because for business, Jeffree's going to make sure that he wants to capitalize on both, because keep in mind, this palette is not just Shane's palette. This is literally Shane's palette, but everything is controlled by Jeffree Star, and this is Shane's palette under Jeffree Star's corporation. So Jeffree Star is going to want to make sure that he arranges this business-wise so that he can absolutely capitalize and maximize on this series and this palette as well as his Christmas collection, in my opinion. Honestly, when I found out that they're going to be riding in a private jet, like, I would love to ride in a private jet one day. Like, I don't even care why. I just think that it would be so cool. I would probably be just as nervous as Shane, because flying does make me nervous, but not like crazy nervous. Like, I don't like have a panic attack or freak out for days before. And I feel like that's because I was in Air Cadets. My parents literally forced me into Air Cadets when I was 12 years old. Like, literally in the middle of the school year, as soon as I turned 12, as soon as I was eligible to join Air Cadets, my parents were like, in you go. And so because of Air Cadets, I got to fly in a tiny little plane that's called a Cessna. And I actually got to like fly and control the plane with the pilot in the pilot's position, but there's like 2 steering wheels and whatever, and I got to actually control the Cessna, so that was super cool. And I've got to fly a glider, and basically a glider is like a plane, sort of. It's like a plane body, and they tow it behind a little tiny plane into the sky, and then you get to fly the glider, which doesn't actually have like an engine of its own. You just like glide through the sky and then you land it. So I got to fly one of those in Air Cadets, and I got to be chosen out of every single person that was at Air Cadet camp. I was chosen to go up in a helicopter, so I got to go on a helicopter ride, and that was one of the coolest experiences in my entire life. But because of all of those previous flying experiences, I'm not super afraid of flying, but I think private jets are so cool, and I don't want to own a private jet. Well, like maybe one day if I'm filthy rich, but I think that's kind of wasteful. I just would love to experience being on a private jet like one time. Now, while we're going behind the scenes and seeing all of the success of Jeffree Star, honestly, it makes me think, like, I am still so afraid of success. Like, I have been so driven and working towards all of my goals my entire life. But when it comes to seeing people that are actually extremely successful and how they work like non-stop, I'm used to working all the time, but I can't even physically imagine like flying to LA, flying to New York, flying to flying to Greece, flying to Milan, I don't know, like literally all over the world, and just doing like makeup launches and doing work here and work there and still doing your like entire beauty guru thing on YouTube and collaborating and like still finding time for your man and your dogs. Like, that blows my mind. Like, I can't imagine. And honestly, like, it just makes me think of Kris Jenner, who literally is like the most hardworking person, and she's like flying all over the place, just flying from like 3 cities in one day, and that's so overwhelming to me. But that's the reality when you're going to be that successful. So I'm like, I would love to be that successful one day, but like, that is so scary too at the same time. And I think that's why a lot of people don't really try and become that successful, because the reality is it's a lot of work, and like not everybody can handle that. But I don't know. At this point, I can't even handle like working in a regular job because it gives me so much anxiety. So I can't imagine being a CEO of like 8 different companies or 10 different companies, as Jeffree said. So hats off to Jeffree. That's honestly like so impressive. Also, I just wanted to say that Shane and Ryland's relationship is like so super cute, and I loved that pink jumper sweatsuit set that was Jeffree Star that Ryland had that he was going to be wearing on the trip. Like, it was so cute, and like I'm pretty sure that me and Ryland are the same size, so it would probably fit me. Like but seriously, I can't afford Jeffree Star merchandise, but it's so cute, so I would love to wear that. And I literally live in sweatpants most of the time. Like, I have full makeup on and this beautiful top, and look what I'm wearing on the bottom. Ninja Turtles sweatpants. So I think what they say about YouTubers is true. We never wear pants. But yeah, I've honestly never had a boyfriend in my entire life, like a real boyfriend. So to me, I think that Ryland and Shane's relationship is like total goals, and they're so cute together, and I love that they're showing what their relationship is like in this series, so that's super cute to me. Which leads me into the next thought. When Shane and Ryland were laying in bed, and Shane was talking about how he feels stupid because he's poor compared to Jeffree, but I'm happy that he finally addressed the fact that he's not poor, and him and Ryland talked about that, and Ryland's like, you're not doing bad, you're not doing Jeffree incredible in terms of money, but you're doing amazing in your own right. And that's something that kind of annoyed me about Shane and Jeffree series that they had in the past, is that Shane was pretending to be super poor, and like, I get it, he's super poor in comparison to Jeffree, but I just don't think that it comes off very well to your audience that is all like average people, and many of them still live in poverty, like below the actual poverty line. So for him to be calling himself poor while he has like 20 million subscribers and is super successful and lives on like an acreage isn't really the most relatable thing. It kind of comes off as like, eh. But I'm glad that they addressed that and addressed the fact that like Shane doesn't think he's poor, it's just he thinks he kind of feels dumb in comparison to Jeffree and all these other YouTubers that started more recently than Shane that are on the Forbes list for being like so wealthy, and Shane's not. And so I think that that opens up the topic that like most people think that YouTubers are all filthy rich, and I can speak for myself. I'm a full-time YouTuber, and I still have to work in film, and I still have to do odd jobs. I help out my friends with their hair. I will literally like do anything like dog walking, and sometimes I have to have part-time jobs for a year at a time here and there, just because I still live like below the poverty line. And in order to be one of these filthy rich YouTubers like Jeffree Star, you need to have like your own corporation, and Shane Dawson doesn't have that. So in comparison to Jeffree Star, who releases videos all the time, releases new makeup series all the time, he has like all these different makeup products and all these different makeup lines and launches, he is a filthy rich millionaire in comparison to Shane, who posts like 2 videos a year, and he has to rely on hopefully getting a sponsorship whenever he posts a video, because his videos probably aren't going to be monetized, so he's not going to make any AdSense revenue from them, but he also doesn't have a business or a product, so he doesn't make a ton of money off of this. So that leads me to the next point, where at the end of the video they kind of had this little preview that I'm hoping that they're going to talk about in a upcoming episode, where Jeffree Star was saying to Shane Dawson, you're nice but naive, and we need to change that because I used to be like that. And that's what Jeffree said. And honestly, I feel like throughout this series, that's what we're going to see in Shane, is that maybe he's going to become a little less naive and learn how to make a business around his followers, because a lot of the time it feels gross, especially when you're a true artist like myself. You don't want to think about money, you don't want to think about finances, you don't want to think about creating a business, but the reality is we all need to pay for our rent, we need to put food on the table, and if Shane creates a business, the more money that he creates for himself, he is able to give back to the community. And he's not a selfish person, but I think Jeffree's right. If he's learning to be nice when it's appropriate, but also to be less naive and to really put his foot down and to not let people walk all over him or use him, that's honestly a great lesson that I think Shane could learn. And I honestly feel like I could learn the exact same lesson, because I am way too empathetic, and I feel like that gets me in situations where I let people walk all over me, or I let people cross my boundaries way too often, and then I get myself in a position where I feel like I can't do anything about it. So honestly, I think that we could all take a lesson from Jeffree's unstoppable confidence and his strong-headedness and his business sense and his just like successful mindset when it comes to not letting anything stop him, not letting anything get in his way, not letting anything distract him. He has a goal, keeps his mind on the prize. And Jeffree Star honestly is one of those people that donates thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to charity. So it's not one of those cases where he's just super greedy and keeps all of this money to himself. Yes, he's a millionaire and spends like literally millions of dollars, like more money than I can even comprehend, on like Birkin bags, but at the same time, he does contribute to the community. So that's something to keep in mind, I think. And I feel like it is not something that all rich people do, but in my mind, as a good Samaritan and as a human and just like looking at the world around you, I feel like it is something that every rich person should do. Every rich person should donate to charity, and in whatever charity they want to, but in just in some way giving back and helping the community, because it's just the right thing to do. Now, when they first got on the jet, Jeffree was talking about security and talking about how he brought his own bodyguard and how he always has his own bodyguard and how he brought one for Shane, and Shane was kind of like, "And I'm so surprised, like a bodyguard, what?" But that got me thinking, like, what? Do you not have a bodyguard normally? Like, I understand that Jeffree Star is filthy rich, but Shane has a much bigger, or not much bigger, but Shane has like millions more people following him. Shane has always had a gigantic social media following, like literally for years. So to me, I'm kind of mind blown that he's shocked over the idea of having a bodyguard. Like, you should probably, in my opinion, have security whenever you leave your house, or at least a giant posse of people. Like, I don't know, that's kind of crazy to me. If I had 18 million, or how many people does Shane have? Like, I think over 20 million people that follow him on social media or just on YouTube alone. Like, I don't think that I would be leaving the house without security. That's not really a safe thing to do. So I was kind of like bewildered that he was super shocked over the security. But yeah, I feel like you should have a bodyguard if you have 20 million people following you, because that is definitely a safety risk every single time that you leave the house. They touched on like the Dramageddon 1 and Jeffree and Gabriel and Manny and Laura, and I just thought that that was interesting that they put that in the series, and Jeffree was saying how that made him super sad, because I felt like he was super angry about it and not really super sad. But I don't know, I guess anger is always a secondary emotion, so maybe he was being angry about it because he was hurt, if that makes sense. But that being said, I actually have been watching Laura's channel. I watched a few of her most recent videos, and it looks like she's adopted her niece, and her niece is becoming a YouTuber. And honestly, I learn a lot from Laura and her makeup videos, so I think that they're cool. I watched a couple of Manny's videos. I didn't watch all of them, but I did watch his video about being canceled, and I thought that was interesting, because I honestly don't think that either of them should have had their careers go to waste, but I feel like they deserve some redemption, and maybe 2019 or 2020 could be their year to rise up again, and who knows, maybe it's going to be with Team James Charles and not Team Jeffree Star. I don't know, that's just my prediction, but I do feel like in the next year that we're going to see some kind of collaboration between Manny MUA and James Charles. That's just my prediction. But I think that that is it for this video. Those were my thoughts on the Jeffree and Shane series. What were your thoughts on the beautiful life of Jeffree Star, and what do you think is going to happen in the coming weeks as this series unfolds? I would definitely like to know what you guys think down in the comments below. But before we go and end this video, I just wanted to remind you guys about that Scale About website that I created. So I will leave the link down in the bio below if you would like a shout out in one of my videos, if you would like a personal shout out video, that's where you can reach me is on Scaleabout. Or if you'd like me to react to your dancing, if you'd like some dancing tips, YouTube tips, makeup tips, any of that jazz, you can get a hold of me on Scaleabout, and I will leave my website link down in the description below. And also, if you want to follow me on Instagram or Twitter, they are both Jordan J. Sparks. And I think that is it for this video, so as always, make sure to be weird, be wild, and stay sparkly, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.